The office floor of Wexford and Knox Consulting gleamed like a polished showroom. Sleek desks, glass walls, corporate smiles with just a touch of forced enthusiasm. At the front of it all was Andre Taylor, 26 years old, fresh out of grad school. Sharp mind, sharper style. And today, his biggest sin was his hair. Before we dive deeper into this shocking story, drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. And if you're into gripping stories like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. It wasn't unruly. It wasn't messy. It was a neatly twisted crown of locks, tied back with care. But that didn't matter to Margaret Delaney, the HR manager who clutched her pearls every time Andre walked by her office. On this particular Thursday, the tension that had been simmering for weeks finally boiled over. "Andre," Margaret called, standing stiffly at the edge of his cubicle. "Do you have a minute?" He already knew what was coming. He'd seen the sideways glances, heard the whispers. He stood tall anyway. "Sure." Inside her frosty glass office, Margaret didn't waste time. "I'm afraid we have to let you go." Andre blinked. "Let me go? For what?" Margaret's face remained blank. "We're restructuring. Your role is being eliminated." "But my team hit all its metrics. I just closed the Henderson deal." He was calm. Too calm for her comfort. She didn't flinch. "We wish you the best." But Andre had read the signs. This wasn't about performance. It was about appearance. More specifically, his blackness in a form that couldn't be disguised under a suit and tie. He left without making a scene. No protest. No angry emails. Just a quiet exit with a cardboard box under his arm. But inside, he was already working. Because Andre wasn't just an employee. He was a founder too. He had spent the last 2 years building a fintech startup in the evenings. A platform designed to help underrepresented small businesses get access to investment capital. The irony wasn't lost on him. They had judged him on looks. But wealth doesn't need a haircut. 1 week later, back at Wexford and Knox, the atmosphere buzzed with fake energy. Rumors flew that an investor group was considering a multi-million-dollar partnership. Margaret had spent all week rehearsing her best smiles and tidying the conference room. The partner firm was called Forward Equity. Their rep was supposed to arrive at 10 a.m. sharp. And arrive he did. Andre walked through the glass doors like he had never left. Same crown of locks. Different energy. This time he was the boss. Margaret's smile cracked like old paint. "Andre." He gave her a polite nod. "Miss Delaney. Good to see you again." Behind him, 2 other Forward Equity partners followed in suits worth more than Margaret's annual salary. The boardroom fell into stunned silence. This wasn't just an old employee coming back. This was power walking in. The meeting began with pleasantries, coffee, PowerPoint decks. All the corporate song and dance. But the elephant in the room never left. It sat right between Andre and Margaret. Watching. Breathing. Finally, during a break, one of the Wexford executives pulled Andre aside. "I gotta say, we were surprised when we heard who Forward Equity was sending." Andre shrugged. "I imagine so." The exec chuckled nervously. "Hope there's no hard feelings. Water under the bridge, right?" Andre's smile never reached his eyes. "Depends on how deep the water goes." It was during the Q&A that things shifted. Andre steered the conversation away from financial models and ROI, and straight into company culture. "You mentioned your DEI initiatives," he said, clicking to the next slide. "But I noticed something interesting in your last annual report. 0 black senior executives. 1 black junior analyst." The room stiffened. "And just last week, one of your few black employees was let go under curious circumstances." Margaret's throat clicked. A senior partner tried to laugh it off. "We're evolving as a company. Mistakes happen." Andre didn't flinch. Some mistakes cost more than others. He let the silence sit. Let them stew in it. After the meeting, Margaret approached him alone. She tried to recover her practiced tone. "Andre, I had no idea you were..." He stopped her with a look. "You had no idea who I was," he said. "But you saw me. And that was enough." Her mouth opened and closed. I wasn't a risk because of my performance, he continued. I was a risk because I reminded you of something you didn't want in your brand. Margaret's face turned red. That's not fair. No, he said. It's not. But it's true. He walked away. 3 months later, Forward Equity completed its acquisition of a 25% stake in Wexford and Knox. Andre didn't take a day-to-day role. He didn't need to. But his influence echoed through every floor. Policies changed. Hiring shifted. And the first time a new black analyst with cornrows walked into the office, no one said a thing. They wouldn't dare. A year later, Andre stood at the front of a classroom in South LA, speaking to a group of high school seniors about entrepreneurship. You're going to walk into rooms where people think your hair makes you less, he told them, or your skin, or your name. He paused. But when you own the room, they can't lock the door. The students nodded. Some smiled. One girl raised her hand. Did you ever think about cutting your hair to fit in? He looked down at the locks now hanging at his shoulders. Once, he admitted. Then I realized, why shrink to fit their box when I can build my own? Here's the lesson. Bias doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it whispers behind glass doors. Sometimes, it hides in policy, in performance reviews, in vague phrases like cultural fit. Andre could have played small, cut his hair, swallowed the insult, but he didn't. He built. He turned rejection into leverage. And when he walked back through those doors, it wasn't for revenge, it was for change. Because representation isn't about getting a seat at the table. It's about deciding who gets to build the table in the first place. If this story made you think, even for a second, share it. Someone you know might need to hear it. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that matter. And remember, the world doesn't change by permission. It changes when we show up as ourselves, unapologetically.